All righty. We are live.
Yes.
Yo.
They can't see us.
Why not? I don't understand.
I don't know. We're not on the screen.
What's happening? Oh, there we go. Hey, there we go. It's Wednesday and we're live this time. It is 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Coastal, and whatever time it is in between and where you are. But it's the Death Rattle Podcast. I'm DJ Remark, and with me is Mr. Kanan Becker, the Ghost Pirate.
What's up, guys?
Good to see everybody.
Hey.
Terry's in the chat. Hi, Terry. John, good to see you. How's it going? Otaku420, what's up, buddy? Good to see you guys. Some of you, I guess, were caught by surprise last week that we had a pre-recording of the show and we're not live. Sorry about that. We tried to make an early enough announcement that we weren't going to be live. But we are live this week. We're live next week. And then Christmas, we are off. So we will not be on Christmas, but then we will be doing an episode on January 1st, which is a Wednesday, 2025. And that's when we will be doing our best of the year. So make sure to tune in on the 1st so that we can fight about I guess we wouldn't fight about it because it's our best of the year. But we'll probably have opinions.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure there's going to be some on either of our lists that you're like, oh, what? Why is that on your best of the year?
Yeah, I know. And it's going to be hard for me. I'm going to have to go through, take this holiday break or Christmas break, I should say.
Yeah, there's a lot you need to watch still.
I need to take this Christmas break and watch a lot of stuff that's come out recently because my top, are we doing top 10 or top 5? What are we going to do?
Well, probably just do each of our 5, which will make up 10.
Okay, good, because I don't think I could come up with 10 movies.
Well, but it'll take a long. That would probably be more than an hour or two to like.
Yeah, well,
if
that's
we did 10 each. So
first show of the new year, we go over the hour. I don't think anybody will be upset. We got a new member on the Ghost Pirates side, Helena Musoi. I think I don't know.
Hey, welcome aboard, Helena.
But thanks for becoming a member on Ghost Pirate. He really appreciates it. And we hope you're watching the Death Rattle podcast. So we got some news. We got some cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff. Like there's stuff I didn't even mention. Like we're not even mentioning really. Like there's so much new stuff. Like they just announced a couple, like literally minutes ago, a couple new people for Scream 7. Like tons of stuff. So
yeah, they announced a lot of stuff. We already have our show. We already have our show written out, so we can't talk about that. John,
I just figured the most interesting stuff is what we basically went with.
He wants to know, does anyone have a Christmas horror film that they watch each year? I always try to watch Original Black Christmas and All the Creatures Are Stirring, both on Shudder. Yeah. Krampus is probably mine. Yeah, I guess honestly, I can't think of, you know what I think is all right. This might be controversial. It might not be, but I honestly think that A Christmas Story by Charles Dickens, or A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, is a horror story. Yeah, look at that. See, oh, and I was just about to say that. The Muppet version of A Christmas Carol is the death
is so scary in that.
Yeah. Well, it's the best. It is the best rendition of A Christmas Carol. I will fight people about that. The Muppet Christmas Carol is the best rendition.
Look at it. It's got, what's his name? Michael Caine. Yeah, I mean,
and that's what makes it so great, because he plays it so straight.
Yep.
You know, he is acting against puppets as if they're people, and that's what makes it so good.
It's one of the most played straight of all of the Muppet movies, to be honest, because like there are, definitely some parts where they're hamming it up and being silly, but a lot of it, like all the stuff with Tiny Tim and like, it's played pretty straight, like pretty close to the,
I think
just the puppet designs are phenomenal in it.
I know.
It's so good.
They're great.
Like all the different ghosts. Yeah, like all the different ghosts. So good. But the ghost of Christmas Future is so terrifying.
Yeah.
Like the design of that is so creepy.
Oh yeah. Well, I have a couple of Christmas short films. If I can plug my my stuff a little bit. That if you're
really looking
for I have two. One's called Bells, the other is called You Better Watch Out. And they're both Christmas themed.
Why did you name one the same name as like a really popular Christmas horror movie?
Well, I added you to it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Instead of just Better Watch Out. Yeah,
but because
got me there.
So the story it has to do with Santa's always watching you pretty much, and so we kind of turned that on its head a little bit, and made it into a horror. It's kind of dumb, but
are they on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah,
both of them.
Both of them. Yep, they're both on YouTube under Bloodscribe Creations. But Bells and You Better Watch Out. You're probably not going to find You Better Watch Out if you just search for it. You have to actually go to the profile to watch it because it's age restricted. But Bells, if you search for it, should show up. But anyway, but as far as I would say for me, the Muppet Christmas Carol is like one that I like to watch, and I consider
that movie.
Black Christmas is pretty good. Krampus is pretty good. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
I just love Krampus because it feels so much like like the look of it and stuff. Same reason I love Trick or Treat, the same guy made both. And it's just very he really gets what at least visually what makes, and a lot of people don't like Krampus because the ending, it's kind of like but to me, it depends on how you see the ending, it's kind of up for interpretation, but
I would have to rewatch it. But I mean, that's always a good one. All right. Do we want to get into our news? We want to start off. So we have, our first piece of news, which I'm sure everybody's already aware of.
Yeah. Most exciting thing that happened this past week, I think.
Yeah. 28 years later, the official trailer,
and it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. They just dropped it.
There was no rumors or anything that they were dropping a trailer. Like it just like, what?
So,
wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
There's an update on this particular image that we're watching. There's an update that is not Cillian Murphy.
Yep.
They're saying
that was the big rumor going around.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact who the actor is now. And it's not Cillian Murphy. Like the guy actually kind of looks like that a little bit. Like he's very, very thin and lanky.
Sorry, I just want to trying to get these.
Yeah, Danny Boyle basically saw the guy. I think he saw him at the grocery store or some weird ass situation. Was just like, dude, you'd be perfect for this role. Would you be interested? Kind of thing. Like I heard something along those lines.
You'd be perfect for a corpse.
Yeah.
All right. So from Bloody Disgusting, Sony has unleashed the official trailer for 28 Years Later this morning. The long-awaited sequel to 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later that puts Danny Boyle back in the director's chair. Boyle reteams with writer Alex Garland on 28 Years Later, which is intended to kick off a brand new trilogy of movies for the franchise. Jeez.
Yeah, I think they've already shot the first two.
Oh, my gosh. So we're going to watch this below. It's going to be released on June 20th of next year. In the new movie, quote, it's been almost 3 decades since the rage virus escaped biological weapons laboratory, and now still a ruthlessly enforced quarantine. Some have found ways to exist amidst the infected. One such group of survivors lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single heavily defended causeway. When one of the group leaves the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors as well. From what we understand, the first 2 movies in the 28 Years Later trilogy, just like you said, have already been filmed. Boyle directs the first installment, while Nia DaCosta, Candyman and the Marvels, directs the second. That's going to suck.
No, I don't agree, because it's directing. If you think about those movies from the director's angle, they weren't bad. The script is what was so bad, especially for like
the directing of the Marvels was
Candyman
also
looked
very
phenomenal.
Bad. It looked good, but everything else was not. Nia DaCosta is not a good director.
I don't agree. I think Candyman was really well directed. It just had some issues with the script. And
I mean,
the Marvels was just a mess, dude. Like I can't blame.
Yeah, but as a director, you are the creative control of the film. So
not when it comes to Marvel.
Okay, fine.
We know this for a fact.
There's an asterisk.
Marvel, and so that's why I can't hold that against.
But Candyman's not Marvel, and Candyman, I would say, was also poorly directed.
I don't agree. Like that, what was badly directed about that movie?
Well, the fact that nobody's talking about it since it came out, the fact
that's
that
because of the script.
There's no memorable scenes.
There was nobody negatively. I heard nobody negatively talk about things that had to do with directing. It was just the story, the script. It was problems with not bringing back Tony Todd and enough of a role, and it just felt like played out, and overly woke, and felt, very like trying to capitalize and deal with the whole way the world was at the time with all the riots and everything. And, but it was a whole complicated thing because all of that movie was written and shot and all that long before the pandemic.
Right.
It just so happened that when it was released, it was like, so I honestly think that movie has got a really bad rap. I think years down the road, we'll look back at it and not see it in the same negative light.
Well, maybe. I guess we'll see. You got a lot of movies with that same opinion. So I'm gonna have to start making a list of movies Kanan thinks are gonna be good in X amount of years, and I'm just gonna wait.
Because a lot of times it comes to the frame in which you see a movie. It's like, I was just talking about this in a video that I'm about to release. The movie Oddity. I've had a lot of people mention to me, like, it was all right, but it wasn't that great. Like, you overhyped that movie, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I saw the movie without even seeing a trailer. I saw the movie in a theater. I saw the movie before anybody was talking about it. I knew absolutely nothing about that movie. And so it's hard for someone to see that movie after hearing hype about it on a little screen in their house and get the same experience as me. So there's so much to do with the way a movie, like your experience with a movie, like it can be very, very different and not even be the movie's fault, or might not even be as good as it is. Like, for instance, I've heard numerous YouTubers have talked about, and I know this from my experiences too. Like, if you go to a premiere and you meet the actors or the directors and you get to talk to them or you hear these things, and then you watch the movie, that movie you'll never see it in the same way that everybody else does. It very much will skew your opinion on that movie, no matter what you do.
Well, maybe. Because I mean, if you're a critic, if you're trying to watch a movie critically and do that, I think you need to be able to take that meeting of the cast and director and push that aside and then actually do that, which is what I did with
you can get better at it, but right. I don't think it's ever possible for you to completely separate yourself from it. Not if you go, like, it's like if you have a friend that made a movie or a friend that's in a movie, you're never going to see, no matter how hard you try, you can be critical of it. Like, I've been critical of my friends' movies and stuff, but like, I can't ever completely see it through the eyes of someone that doesn't know anybody involved with that movie and is just randomly watching it on a Saturday on their computer.
Well, yeah, sure. But I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with, we first got on this talking about Nia DaCosta.
Yeah, because it's about context or not, and the world and the state of the world when everybody was going to see that.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that a lot of people didn't even see that in theaters.
It just, I don't,
We were barely out of the pandemic. A lot of people weren't even going to the theaters yet to see movies.
I don't think that changes whether or not Nia DaCosta is a good director.
I do, because I think if you watch that movie and think about it being instead of thinking about the script or the acting or any of those things, but just from a director's standpoint, on top of the fact that you also have had, like, I don't know if I want to say meddling, but you definitely had studio and people playing with it a little bit. It was her first directorial role. All I know is this is the best way I can put it. I don't know if she's going to become an amazing director yet. I'm not saying that, but I think I've seen enough from her and things that she has done, like the episodes of, like she directed some of the episodes of, Lovecraft Country. And like, I just think the way she visually directs movies is really good. And it's kind of because of the basically 2 movies she's done at this point, I feel like it's hard to know how good she'll be. And so I think you could be right. Like, this could not be that great, right? But
yeah.
I think that we can't say that yet. I feel like we haven't seen enough from her in a situation where she's really getting the reins. I mean, dude, she worked, like, Jordan Peele produced Candyman and co-wrote the script. Like, he was so involved in that movie. Like, and I don't think
it should have been better.
Thing. That's one of the things. Why wasn't it?
Because the directing was bad.
No, because I think when you put like, it's too many chiefs, you know what I mean? Too many cooks in the kitchen.
No, two.
That script was written by 4 people. It's the same problem that we've seen with a lot of movies where you have too many people. They could all be super talented, but you have too many voices and none of the voices end up coming through cleanly. You know, I think it's just the problem with like what happened with the Halloween movies. You know, same kind of thing. They're all talented in their own right. And if you give them a separate project, they might be great. But when you put all these people together that all have differing opinions and every script is written by 4 people, like, it ends up just being muddled and, you know, and I think that's the biggest problem Candyman had.
Sure. Fine. But then the Marvels should have been better.
No, because the Marvels was garbage and not to do with the directing. The Marvels was so interfered with by studio, and the script was atrocious.
No, the Marvels was exactly what they wanted it to be. The Marvels was not. I don't feel like because the thing is this: we've seen it from, like, dude, Sam Raimi is incredible, right? Very few people will argue that he's not one of the best directors ever, and yet, I mean, I enjoyed it, but. What was the Marvel movie he did? Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness. That movie has issues, and I don't blame him. And I don't blame him at all. I don't blame him at all. Sure,
but Marvel is a mess right now.
Yes,
and it started before the Marvels. The Marvels was like, you know,
we'll agree to disagree then, and we'll see what happens.
I'm not saying it's going to be amazing. I'm just saying I think that it still has potential to be good. I don't think it's doomed because is it a guy or a girl? I don't know. Because they're directing.
It's a girl. Nia DaCosta. She's a woman.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's watch this trailer.
Something in my head was saying, because there's another person with a name similar that I thought was female and it's not. So.
All right. I just wanted to put that up there. This guy always forgets New Candyman exists.
Plus, this is going to have the same writer team. And that's a lot of why I also have a lot of faith in
this movie,
this one, and anything.
The next
after
one.
it.
Yeah, well,
because of who's writing it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Let's watch.
And plus, just because Danny Boyle's not directing it, he's still on board. He's still producing it. Like, he's still going to be involved in it.
I think Nia DaCosta will have better guiding hands.
It'll be her best shot at doing a really good movie. Let's just put it that way.
Sure, yeah, we'll say that. All right, let's watch this trailer. Y'all ready?
I'm blown away by this trailer.
It's so good.
Like I was kind of skeptical going in, like it was going to have that same.
What's going on? Jimmy, sit still. Keep quiet and do not move from this spot.
We keep getting hit so hard for every single one of the trailers.
Yeah, I know. But like we stop and we talk over them. I don't understand why we keep getting hot. We keep getting hit.
Because you get 10 seconds.
Whatever.
It's 10 seconds. If there's 10 seconds, the algorithm will pick it up.
7,
if there's 10 seconds
6,
with video and
11,
audio matched up.
5, 9 and 20 miles today.
Pause it real quick.
11.
Do you know what this sound is?
No, I don't.
So people did research and figured it out. They talk about it, on the Dead Meat Presents channel. They did a breakdown. And it's actually like a super old recording from like the 1920s, I believe. And it's a famous, the voice is as a famous poet. And it's a famous poem, I guess, that was written right after the war, World War II. So World War I, I believe.
World War I.
Yeah. And it's from a soldier's perspective. And
wow.
The whole backstory behind it is super creepy, but I love that they didn't do what so many trailers now are doing, where they're playing those sting sounds that weren't, or a famous song slowed down, which is what like so many people are using. Like I love that they came up with something that feels creepy and very different.
Yeah, no, this is a damn good trailer. This is one of the best trailers that I've seen for a horror movie in a long, long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
They will get the top of you. Food.
Oh, pause real quick. And there's a giant in this.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, I forget who brought it up, but yeah, go back.
That looks a lot bigger than a normal person. Yeah, I was going to say.
But also, if you go back before that, a little ways before that, you see these people on a hill, and one of them is giant. Like there's one shot of these people, like of these infected running down a hill, like their silhouettes. Yeah.
Oh, this one right here.
Look how big. Yeah, look how big that fool is.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man.
And it looks like he might even be standing behind them, and he's still that much bigger.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah.
Food.
And that, what is that?
There's no
that thing.
Food.
And there's been so many problems with horror trailers recently, and the fact that this one is just so good. I mean, and that recording I think plays perfectly with it.
Yep.
And the music, and there's no sensationalized marketing in this. It's just here's who made it.
There's none of
they don't
the
even mention
scariest zombie movie ever made or any of that kind of, because they could easily say that, like, the first
they could say the iPhone
movie
thing.
They could, but they could say like the movie that changed horror, because it did. Like that wouldn't even be sensationalized, and yet they still didn't use that. I love that.
They're treating it like it's its own movie.
Itself. Yep.
They're treating it like it's its own movie, which is good, which is what it's supposed to happen. Jack, yes, we did. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Just FYI.
It's the best trailer I feel like this year since
Nosferatu. I would say Nosferatu.
Yeah, Nosferatu is pretty amazing.
Nosferatu,
but no, I was thinking of the first Omen. Like I don't
even remember the first
I
Omen
was
trailer.
shocked when I saw that trailer, because I expected the first Omen to be just dumb. Like I didn't even want to bother. And I saw the trailer and I was like, whoa. No, it wasn't. It's so good, dude.
No, it wasn't.
Good.
That movie's bad. It's a bad movie.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Many people disagree with you too, which is what's so comical about it.
It's continuity breaking. It's a pointless movie. They didn't need to make it. And
it's continuity breaking on a boring ass movie from the fucking 70s.
What? That's not an argument. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good or bad
I'm
the rest
fine
of the
with
Omen
it.
franchise
Like, go
is.
ahead and change shit to make a better movie.
But it doesn't make it better. That's the problem. It does not. How does the first Omen? Here's the story of the first Omen. Okay,
because it would have been so dumb seeing a freaking jackal giving birth to a baby. Like, how dumb would that be?
But we don't really know what the jackal is in the Omen. In this,
that's the only real change they did was
actual. They show the bones of a dog.
They just made it symbolic.
No, they showed an actual demon at the end that got caught on fire. Yeah. Sorry, spoiler alert. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's just simply symbolic. It's just
first Omen.
Because the jackal is another name for a demon. And
right.
Talked about in the Bible as the jackal, it's just a demon. It's the devil. It's a demon. It's just another name for it. And so that's all they did. So that's why I think people that talk about that, it's like silly, because they're just simply changing the translation, where if you think about it, in Damien, it's just a story being told. So they wouldn't have, it's not like they're saying we were there. We watched a jackal give birth to the baby.
That's what the original father said in the Omen.
Exactly. But based on
birth. And in the first Omen, they make it so that he doesn't witness the birth, that he's not.
Yes. The reason he says that, though, is why. Remember the end of the first Omen?
The reason why what? Hang on.
The reason he says that is to throw them off of the thing, because he's trying to protect her. That's what happens at the end of the first Omen.
Okay, yes, but the
remember Omen, the father is trying to protect her and the little girl.
But in the Omen, the movie, I always forget what his name is. Yeah,
but that's supposed to be the same priest. It's supposed to be the same priest.
It's the exact same priest, but in the Omen, he was part of this cult, and his character seems to be like repetitive. Like he realized what's going on and wants to warn the family that this is what happens. In the first Omen, it makes him out to be
like a hero.
Never really part of the cult anyway.
Yeah,
that he was constantly, that he was always trying to work against it. That he wasn't.
But he does still have guilt, because he was kind of part of it until he realized what was going on.
Well, not really.
I agree. They did change things. I just don't feel like it's that big of a deal, because what it really comes down to is I've never been a big fan of the Omen.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those movies that's like, I don't understand why it gets so much hype. And I actually really liked the first Omen. So I'm like, on one hand, I have a movie that I think is boring and I never was that impressed with it. And on the other hand, I have a modern taking that story and just kind of tweaking it and twisting it some and actually made a good movie.
But I don't think it was a good movie. I think there's other problems with that movie. It's by itself, without being lore breaking of the actual Omen story. I think the whole setup is silly, especially with the reveal at the end. I think it makes it that much more silly. I think the red herring that they threw in about the girl being the one that they thought was going to be the conduit. Like, we all knew that it was going to be the nun. Like, nobody thought it was going to be that actual girl. Well, the movie did a bad job setting that up. The horror throughout.
No, see, I don't think they did a bad job of setting that up. I don't think you were ever meant to. I don't think it was even ever trying to fool you. I think it was just simply to fool the character.
No, dude, it was fool the audience, or else they wouldn't have had that opening scene with the two fathers talking back and forth in the confessional, and then have him look at the picture, and then on the back,
but by the time you
meet the girl that we meet has the name on the picture. We're supposed
by
to
the time you meet the little girl, I'm talking about once you meet the little girl, you're like, okay, this is not
right.
Like, this is not, she's not going to be the one. It's going to be something to do with the nun. That's all I'm saying. Like, once you meet the little girl, that's when you're like, okay, it's definitely not going to be her. Like, they want you to believe that in the beginning. You're right. In the, that first scene with the two priests and everything. But by the time you meet the little girl and she has conversations with her and you realize that everybody around her is evil, you're like, okay, she's not going to be the threat. It's going to be something else.
Right.
So I think it's only meant to fool the other, it's not, I just don't feel like they were trying to make you like this huge twist where you're like, what? Like, I just didn't get that feeling at all. Like, it's not meant. Either way, I don't know why we're
I don't want to argue about the first Omen anymore. I want to get to our next piece.
We've argued about that movie like 3 times this year.
And we're going to keep doing it. I know. It's always going to happen every time it comes up. It's going to be on your top 5, isn't it?
Dude,
you're going to put this on your top 5 of the year, and then we're going to fight about
not
it.
my top 5.
Okay,
probably,
good.
It might be in my top 10. It might be in my 10, but it's not my top 5.
All right, good.
Like, I'm already pretty sure, like, dude, the only movie left to see really is Nosferatu.
Right.
Which is going to probably shake up my top 5.
Yeah.
And it's probably crap. What am I going to cut?
Well, all right.
Because
so
I
our
feel
next
like
piece of news.
I feel like there's like 5 really strong movies this year. Everything else is like good. I enjoy it, but there's like a couple that for different reasons that I think are like really good.
Yeah. All right. All right. So our next piece of news, finally. Sorry for those of you watching that aren't into comic book movies. We're going to be talking about one for a little bit.
Well, yeah, but it's Flanagan, dude.
Well, that's what I'm going to say, because Mike Flanagan is officially writing a Clayface movie for DC. Again,
and it's also, I don't know much about Clayface, but I do know that it is one of the more horror type of comic book characters.
Yeah, he's a guy whose body gets turned into clay, and part of his power is he can use it to like transform stuff, but he can never like
he can look never, like anything, right?
Well, sort of, but he can never assume his original form again. He's always gonna be this like clay monster. But like he can like make his arm into like a sickle or something like that, and like
I thought he could transform and look like other people.
No, hang on.
I think it depends on which version.
Yeah, it's because I haven't.
In the Batman, and a lot of the Batman stuff, I've cartoons and stuff. He's always just like what he looks like in this picture. But I feel like in some of the graphic novels and stuff, he is almost more like a chameleon. He can look like other people.
There's different, so there's different versions of Clayface. This is okay. Now that I'm reading about it, I'm remembering there's different versions of Clayface. So it depends on what version, whether it's going to be Carlo, Hagen, Payne. Hang on, who else? There's Sandra Fuller.
But here's the big thing with this is like, is this going to be connected to the Reeves Batman? You know what I mean? More realistic world one, or is it going to be connected to the other Batman that DC's doing? I think it's going to be much more comic book based.
I think it's going to be Reeves, and I would hope that it's Reeves.
I think so too. I don't know why, because Flanagan doesn't seem like the correct writer. He's not directing this. He's
not directing, no, and I wish he would be, but so depending on what Clayface,
the question is who's going to direct it.
It's
maybe Matt Reeves is going to direct it.
We'll see.
That would be pretty sick, dude. Matt Reeves directs and Flanagan writes. Like,
so if this is Basil Carlo, I'm reading this right now. He's the Clayface that appeared in Detective Comics number 40. Wow, June 1940. Good God. As a B-list actor who began a life of crime using the identity of a villain that he had portrayed in a horror film. Kane stated that the character was blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, so that's it. But I'm not seeing what Carlo could do. Anyway, I got to read up on my Clayface lore. My God. I have a whole sleeve tattoo of Batman, and I don't even know Clayface's lore. I'm just a big fan.
I know, and he's one of the oldest.
I know, but he's not one of my favorite villains. But that's probably like I don't know much about Solomon Grundy either. But then that's a Batman villain. But anyway, all right. So according to Bloody Disgusting, there were rumors a few years back that Mike Flanagan had pitched a solo movie for the DC villain Clayface. Rumors that Flanagan said at the time they were entirely speculative. Over a year later, Variety ran a report this week confirming that the Flanagan scripted Clayface movie is happening. Variety reports, quote, DC Studios has officially greenlit a feature film centered around Clayface, the shape-shifting Batman villain, from a script written by Dr. Sleep filmmaker Mike Flanagan, according to a source with direct knowledge of the production. Filming is expected to begin early next year. Matt Reeves and Lynn Harris will produce through a 690 Productions. And as a reminder, James Gunn and Peter Safran are the heads of DC Studios. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Does it say who directing it, though?
It's not saying. No plot details for Clayface have been announced. Flanagan tweeted in 21 that his dream Clayface movie was a horror thriller tragedy, which would be in the vein of Flanagan.
Very Flanagan. But you did say that Reeves is producing it, right?
Reeves is producing, yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be connected to his Batman.
I hope so.
Well, because he's producing it. It means he's going to have some input on it.
Is this from the? Oh, it looks like Clayface shows up in Creature Commandos. Wait,
yeah, but Creature Commandos is not going to be. I feel like the deeper we get into this new DC world, we're gonna all see like how much Creature Commanders is not correct. Like it's not, because the problem is it was written. I written when the whole universe was still a mess, and so he's come out and so what's his name's come out and said like he wrote it with all these restrictions around it, so to speak. Like he was trying to make it fit into what the plan was that DC was going with.
Well, I've only seen the first episode and was not impressed. So
because it was written to be a part of the Batman, Superman, that whole version of DC.
Right. I understand. But I like just despite that, the writing's not good.
Well, yeah, but I don't really care so much about that. Because it's more about the big picture of the state of DC. Are they going to make some good movies this time around?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'll see.
Because that's what matters with why am I spacing on his name? The guy that's the head of DC now.
James Gunn.
James Gunn. That's what matters with James Gunn. Like his writing might not be great, and he might, like his Superman, the one that he's writing, may not be that great. But as long as he's able to give DC a good direction, I don't really care if a couple of the movies he writes aren't great, as long as the overall universe is better.
I guess we'll see. I don't have
more
much hope.
More importantly,
the
Matt Reeves Batman universe.
Right. Okay. So that takes us to our next piece of news.
Because I just don't want to have another Joker folly ado bullshit.
Right. Yeah. I don't think anybody wants that except for Quentin Tarantino.
I just believe more in Matt Reeves. I honestly just can't see Matt Reeves making a movie that's that big of a drop off.
Yeah. All right. So Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah.
I said it kind of right.
Yeah.
Didn't I? Guadagnino?
Yeah. Guadagnino.
Yeah. Whatever. American Psycho to star Austin Butler as Patrick Bateman. Again, from Bloody Disgusting, Luca Guadagnino will direct a brand new interpretation of the 1991 book American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis for Lionsgate. And Variety has announced this morning that Austin Butler will star as serial killer Patrick Bateman. So before I continue with this, I want to know who asked for another American Psycho, or who asked for an American Psycho remake. Did you?
Yes.
You did? You wanted,
no. My first instinct when I heard about this was, dude, what? Why? But two things. It's Luca Guadagnino, who I think if there is someone out there that can make an American Psycho that is worthy of existing and different enough to kind of stand on its own, it's Luca Guadagnino. His movie Bones and All is fucking amazing.
I haven't seen it. I was not a fan of
so
Suspiria.
Good. I thought his Suspiria was okay. I wasn't a big fan of his last movie, the tennis movie. I just was not a fan of it, but it's not horror.
Oh, the one with what's her name?
Yeah, but that's not a horror movie, so it's really like
that looks so kind of dumb. I remember watching the trailers of that in the theater. I was like, this movie looks like ass. And he did that. All right, I gotta watch Bones.
It wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. Like his directing is really good. The story of that movie was just kind of like his directing was still good in that movie, but like the writing element, the story overall, like it was just kind of felt like a Hallmark movie that had a really artistic, creative director, but still the bones of it was a Hallmark movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you could only dress up and put a bunch of amazing actors. They can still only do so much with a Hallmark movie story.
Yeah. All right.
Bones and All is phenomenal. And so That's
I just
one.
looked it
and
up.
then
Timothy
Austin
Chalamet?
Butler. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
Austin Butler. Yeah, it was it was in my top 10 of the year, like 3 years ago when it came out. But yeah, it's when I became a fan of Timothy Chalamet, because you could really see his acting in that. Like a lot of these big movies he's in, he's fine, he's fun. He reminds me of Johnny Depp in a way where he's charismatic and he's fun in these big blockbusters. But if you really want to see an actor's real ability, it's when they're in these smaller indie movies.
Yeah.
And Timothy Chalamet is incredible in that movie. And so is the other lead. I forget her name. But anyway, that movie gives me hope because it has this gritty, dark edge that I can kind of see what he could do with an American Psycho. And then on top of that, Austin Butler is fantastic.
I mean, yes, Austin Butler is good. Yeah.
He was good as Elvis, but he was amazing. Even though I didn't think the movie was amazing, that movie that came out this year, the motorcycle one.
Oh yeah. The bike riders.
Yeah. I didn't think that movie was amazing. It was okay.
I really
think it was amazing. But
I really enjoyed it.
I mean, I just saying, I don't think it was amazing. Like, it was fine. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like amazing. I was hoping, I think I was hoping for it to be because the cast in it and everything, I was hoping it would be a little more of like,
they marketed that movie incorrectly, I thought.
Yeah, but I was hoping it would be like a Goodfellas with motorcycles.
Well, that's how they marketed it.
Yeah, and it was a little bit,
and it was not that.
It was just a little slow. It just didn't have enough teeth. I wanted it to have a little bit more teeth, but it's still fine. But I thought Austin Butler was incredible in it. I thought he was so good.
Yeah. So Scott Z. Burns pens the script, which is said to be a new adaptation of Ellis's novel and not a remake of the 2000 film. Burns most recently created the Apple TV limited series what the fuck is that word? Extrapolations.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I don't know.
Extrapolations. I haven't seen it either. In the story,
it's a series.
It's a limited series. Extrapolations. In the story, a wealthy New York City investment banking executive, Patrick Bateman, hides his alternate psychotic ego from his coworkers and friends as he delves deeper into his violent, hedonistic fantasies. It is quite likely that Guadagnino and Butler will have a drastically different version of the character that Christian Bale made unforgettable in director Mary Herron's adaptation, which
is also why I'm curious to see because
nobody's going to watch this movie not comparing it to the 2000 movie, and nobody's going to watch this movie and not compare it to Mary Herron's adaptation, which it's just I think this movie is being set up to fail. I think so, because nobody's going to watch it without the other movie in mind.
Yes, but if the movie is that good, it won't matter. Because there's enough room for differences. Because I haven't read the book, but from people I know, he's way darker and way more fucked up of a character in the book. Patrick Bateman is. And so from what I've heard, that's what has got Luca Guadagnino wanting to do this project. It's because he's going to go with a more darker, fucked up serial killer type of vibe. And whereas Patrick Bateman is fun, he's fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like, he's amazing. But I feel like if you go with a darker, actually gritty and sweaty edge, it'll win you over. Because that's what it comes down to, dude. Like, you're right. It's not going to make probably a ton of money. And it's going to be all about word of mouth. Because most people are going to be, what's the point? But if word of mouth is like, it's like The Crow. I feel like everybody would have given the new Crow a chance. But as soon as we saw the trailer, we were like, okay, well, this is just stupid. And then everybody that was seeing it, like all the word coming out from the screenings was that it was horrible. And so it's like, and even then it still made like 20 something million its opening weekend. So people like, quite a few people still gave it a chance, but that movie was just dog shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was, yeah. You could say that again.
So at least it's not like, Speak No Evil, where it's like been a year since the movie came out and they're remaking it. But even in that case, with a good enough cast and some stuff, that movie's still decent. It wasn't bad.
I still haven't seen it.
They did change up enough of it that it still was worth seeing.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I didn't.
I just think Luca Guadagnino has, like, dude, he's such an artistic, like, creative mind in all his movies, even if they don't always work. Like, he's just a very artistic director. So it's like there's going to be a lot of, it's going to feel like a completely different movie.
Well, we'll see what he does. Jack says he's America in the 80s. The guy isn't really a guy. He's an anthropomorphic embodiment of the 80s. Well, yeah. And I think that's, if you're going to remake American Psycho, yeah, you would have to make it
in the 80s.
Well, you'd have to update it to today. And
well, I think that is what they're going to do, but I would rather them go to the 80s. I feel like it would work better if it's in the 80s. You know, because if it's today, then it just feels like one of those remakes where we're just modernizing it. Whereas if you take it back instead and you go for a period piece instead, it's like, oh, okay, we're doing something totally different here.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I still think if you modernize it, you can make him like be one of those like Silicon Valley, you know.
Yeah,
like
that's what I've heard is going to be a tech bro. That's what I've heard. They're going to make it nowadays, and he's going to be a crypto bro.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because that's about what they could do with it.
Yeah.
But all right.
So,
well, let's
I'm just saying I don't think it's one that we can just, because of who's involved, I think it has a chance. I don't know if it's going to be worth it, if it's going to be another one of these sequels that were like a waste of resources, but because of the people involved, I think it at least has a chance.
I mean, we'll see. It's a movie that nobody asked for, that I don't think needs a remake. And it's just everybody that's going to be, I mean, I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch it and I'm going to see how it compares to the first one. And like, I feel like that's
what I'm saying. If it's pretty, it will, if it feels like a remake. But if you like pretty quickly on, you're like, okay, this is just a different movie. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think because Luca has such a unique style. But you haven't seen Bones and All, so it's hard for me to really. But
I know I need to watch it.
When you see Bones and All, it'll really give you, because he's done a couple other movies that I'm forgetting that were really good too. But there's this sweaty, gritty darkness about Bones and All that I'm like, man, I could see that translating into an American Psycho. Like, it's just this makes you so uncomfortable, like in the pit of your stomach. Like, Luca just has this, I don't know, it's hard to even explain. There's just this way he makes movies feel. Like, even in that tennis one, which was, you know, not even a thriller or any of that. It was just like a, you know, it's like a love story kind of, or not even a love story. It was just like this romantic drama thing. Even in that, like his look and the way he paces movies and the performances he gets out of his characters, even that had this uncomfortable feeling in it. So,
well, we'll see then.
Yep.
All right. Well, do you want to talk about Werewolves for a little bit, or do you want to go through some chats? All right. We'll talk about Werewolves.
What are we at time wise?
We only got like 7:50.
Yeah, we only got like 10-15 minutes left, so let's just do Werewolves.
Okay. So I'll go first.
Yeah, I'm not, because we have, hold on, just to set this up. We have not talked about this movie at all. I saw it and I was like, I feel like there's a lot we could, I feel like not a lot, but I feel like there's some stuff we could talk about with this movie. So you should go see it. That's the only conversation we've had about this at all. So,
right. So I think this movie is one of those, I think it's going to be a cult movie. I think it's one of those so bad it's good. There's a lot of problems with the dialogue. There's a lot of problems with with the writing in general. The story felt very horror by numbers. So you could have, like, this could have been the way that it's paced and what characters do things so that they can get to the next scene instead of because they need to do them. And there's a lot of just kind of campy stuff like that. Positives, I really enjoyed the practical werewolf effects and makeup. I know there's a mix of CGI in there, which was like, you know, I guess with the budget that they had, you have to kind of split the difference, especially if you have the werewolf costumes and puppets and the whole thing. I thought that was very good, and I think it's chaotic enough to keep you watching and keep you interested. As bad of a movie as I thought it was, I still enjoyed watching it. Like, I still had fun sitting there and going, this is fucking werewolves. I think the movie takes itself a little more seriously than it should. I think if they would have done a little more tongue in cheek with it, I think they could have gotten a better movie. But again, I think this is definitely going to be a movie that you get some friends over, have a couple of drinks, and watch Werewolves and have a good time. I think that it could end up being a cult movie. But that's my take.
What do you think what did you think I'm gonna feel about it?
I think you loved it. I will be very surprised if you did not like it at all. Or if you like, I will be very surprised.
Okay, so I kind of hated this movie. Like, I can't believe how forgiving you're being. Like, because we always talk about writing, and this is one of the worst written movies I have seen in a very long time.
Yes,
because everybody was like, "Well, it's low budget." Blah, blah. That's none of the problems I have with it. Like,
yeah,
dude, it's the writing. The dialogue is atrocious. The dialogue is so bad in this movie. I mean, that scene when the little girl comes out and she's like, the mom's like with the shotgun,
he's blowing holes in her own house.
Yeah, and the little girl on suddenly goes, "Yeah," because the mom basically says to what she thinks is a werewolf outside or whatever. She's all, "This is a double-barreled shotgun, and I'm gonna blow your fucking head off." And then all of a sudden, you see the little girl behind her go, "Yeah," and it's like the most cringy shit. But it's not even funny to me. That's the problem. Like, because the movie took itself so seriously, instead of stuff like that being like fun, like fun bad, it didn't feel fun bad to me. And like, I agree with you about the practical effects, but a part of me was like, well, then what's the point of making this movie if you're going to be like, it's not bringing anything new? There is like literally no story here. Right. I mean, this is how bad this movie is. They invent this drug, this medication, right, or whatever,
called moon screen.
And they call it moon screen. Like, that's how badly written this is. You can't even come up with a decent name for this drug trial thing that you're doing. There's so many, like, just nobody at all talks like regular humans in this. Like, everybody is just is like some type of character, and that's the character they play this entire movie. And like, you just can't give less of a fuck about any of the characters in this. Like, I could care less honestly, the movie would have been better if a werewolf had eaten the little girl. Done something.
I forgot to mention one thing that I was very distracted by was Brandon
Frank Grillo's ripped abs. Holy shit, dude. Like, half the movie's got no clothes on, basically. He's like,
I mean, but no, not that. It was Brandon Cox, the cinematographer. His use of anamorphic lenses in this movie is distracting. Like, you had to have noticed it. Like, even if you're not somebody who watches film for the technical aspects, you're gonna notice that the stretches of light that are just across the entire screen
all over the place,
so distracting. And
but that's what I'm talking about, where it's not a budget thing.
The
movie actually has a pretty decent budget, because
movie has a decent budget.
They spend quite a bit. Like, the practical effects that are in this are done by the guy that did The Thing and like some other big fucking like, he worked on practical effects for, I forget I'm spacing on it now, but like, he's done practical effects for a lot of big movies. Like, this was not a cheap team here. And this problem I had with, like, even the CGI though, is that it doesn't match up. Like, the way they look when they're transforming, like, that CGI doesn't look like they would transform really into those practical effects suits. You know what I mean? Like, there's a pretty, like, noticeable difference. I'm like, man, couldn't you guys have tried to make your CGI at least look like It's like they're two different kinds of creatures, but I don't know, man. But it wasn't the budget stuff. Like I'm fine with the practical effects. I'm fine with the CGI. Like the props and stuff look cheap, like the set where they're at. And it makes that big mistake that so many smaller indie movies make, and it's like the bad ones make, where you have way too many people in your movie. Like if you don't have a big budget, don't go get a shitload of actors that can act.
Right.
Like you have Frank Grillo, so you know what I mean? You have a couple.
Use Frank Grillo.
Yeah, just have those as the main people you see. Like the mom, she wasn't the worst actor. Her script was atrocious.
Yeah.
But like her acting wasn't bad.
Right.
But instead they throw in a bunch of these side characters, like this little girl from across the street who can't act. All the people, like there's like 30 people in that big like warehouse or whatever that's supposed to be some medical facility. I'm like, it's literally like a fucking warehouse, guys.
Yeah.
But there's like 30 people in that scene and they're all horrible at acting. I'm like, why do this? Why have all these actors? All you need is a couple that could decently act. And then the other big mistake that movies like this make is having too many set locations and too grand of set locations. You could have done the same thing in just like one small location where they would really be doing like testing like this. They wouldn't have had it in some giant fucking warehouse. They would have had it in like some small isolated room where they could control what actually happens there, like an actual medical facility, which would have been so much cheaper. But it's like that where they spend a ton of money for no reason. It doesn't make your movie better. It just makes it look cheap.
Yeah, there's a lot of there, and like there's a lot. They throw a lot of story elements and like plot. They set up a lot of plot devices and then just forget about them.
Yep, totally.
And you're just like, well, why'd we even watch that? Like, why is this in this movie?
Well, my biggest issue with it is like the same problem I had with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, with the movie Fear from last year. Like a lot of these movies, if I were to just stumble across them on Tubi, I probably wouldn't have finished watching it, but I would have been mad at it. I'd have been like, yeah, it's a Tubi fucking, or if it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, like that's what this should have been. This should live next to Sharknado on it literally is like the same level as Sharknado. And like, like, why is this in a theater? Why are people spending $15 to see this in a theater? Like that's when I come down hard on the movie. Like if I had just seen this on the Sci-Fi Channel, I would have laughed at it, been like, whatever, with Sand Shark and all that shit. I've been like, whatever, that's fine. But when you put it in a theater, means I got to cover that shit. And so do every other movie reviewer out there. And we got to spend money to go see this. And you get people excited. They're like, oh, cool, a new werewolf movie. And then you go and see this and you're just like, this is why we don't get good werewolf movies, because the execs are like, look, nobody went and saw that. It's like, no, because it wasn't good, not because it was a werewolf movie.
Right, because it wasn't good.
And that's why I'm so hoping that the Wolfman is good, because there is just not enough decent werewolf movies, and it makes no sense. Like there is so much you could do with werewolf movies. We've had a few like that did some original stuff, but like, dude, you could do such cool shit with werewolf. Like the premise of this, the idea is pretty cool, but it's just everything about how they go about it. And then mostly, like I said, the script is just what makes it bad. But like the idea, I think is cool. Like I don't think they needed to do like a Purge kind of setting. I think that's dumb, especially because they don't even really use it. It's not like, it's not like there's a bunch of people out in the streets fighting these werewolves. Like, it's just a bunch of werewolves running around, and like anybody outside's a moron.
Right.
Like, why would you be outside when you know that everybody's turning into werewolves?
Right. Well, not only that, but you could turn into a werewolf.
Yeah. You know what would have been a better movie? I forget who said this. It might have been Sean Chandler. I don't know. Someone said this, and I was like, I totally agree. Is what would have been the better movie, the movie I would have liked to have seen, is the first year, because this is supposed to take place the second year.
A year later,
it's like, why are we not seeing when nobody's expecting to all of a sudden randomly turn into werewolves? There would be like mayhem in the streets because anybody and everybody outside, and I know why. It's because budget. You know what I mean? but like that would have been so much more interesting. Even if you did a small, like do that same thing, but do it in like what the first Purge did, where you have just one location. You still have everybody in just this one house, but all of a sudden all hell's breaking loose out in the neighborhoods around them. But you still show just them dealing with these werewolves out of nowhere and not being prepared for it and having to fight it off. Like the reason the very first Purge movie worked, it's because you had a very small situation with only a couple cast members that could actually act.
Right.
You know,
make it more contained. While you were talking, I was trying to look up the financials. It looks like it made $1.5 million so far. But I don't know what the budget was. It's got to be at least right around, and maybe not $1 million, but right around there. It's got to be,
especially because they promoted this movie too. I mean, I saw the trailer, a couple times. Like,
I don't know, man. It's got to be at least $1 million.
Yeah, whatever. It's definitely got to be more than like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It is,
and even like Winnie the Pooh. But the big problem I had with it, beyond the script and beyond everything, the same problem I had with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, because Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was awful, but Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 was decently made and all that, kind of similar to this movie, right? But dude, why do you take yourself so serious?
Yeah.
Like, think about the premise. It's a world with a bunch of werewolves running around. Or Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's a fucking Winnie the Pooh running around killing people. Like, does no one see that that's a funny premise? Like, lean into it, man. Add a little bit of campy funness to it. Like, don't take yourself so fucking serious.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. Because like I said, it's not a good movie, but I still enjoyed watching it while I was watching it.
Which I think is so funny because you talk shit about so many movies.
I know.
Scripts, and this is like the worst fucking writing, and you're like, I had fun with it.
I did. I
think it's because of expectations. It's like what I get on you about probably all the time. It's expectations.
Yeah, that's probably true. I did not go in with a lot of expectations.
You were definitely not expecting it to be like super well written. So you're just like, it's a stupid werewolf movie. Like,
right.
That's have a good time.
Yeah, that's what
just
I was
gonna get my popcorn. Like I talk about all the time. It's a popcorn kind of movie. Like, you don't.
I think it has the potential.
Movies that, you know, it's like that fucking Invisible Raptor movie. Like, you don't. But that movie, like, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, that movie knows what it is, so it has fun with the premise, and that's why Invisible Raptor looks fun. Whereas this is just like, I don't know. Some people just need to fucking relax, man. Like, throw a couple jokes. Like, there was like no jokes, none. Like, the only things that were funny in this movie were funny in like a bad movie way.
It was funny in the fact that you're laughing at the movie. You're not laughing with the movie. Yeah.
Like, there's zero levity in this movie. Like, I don't think there was a single, even, I mean, was there any that you can remember where there was even a slight joke for anybody?
Sorry, I sneezed. No, I couldn't remember any joke. I couldn't remember one joke at all.
It's like takes itself like so serious.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of that Frank Grillo, dude, I swear to God, like he is probably paid for this movie or is very heavily involved in the money behind it. I just have this feeling, especially with how much he was showing off his body in the movie. Like, this feels like a Frank Grillo, like, you know, it's like all about Frank Grillo getting to be a badass and shoot up things and stuff. Because, like, when was the last thing you saw him in?
Well, I don't think Frank Grillo is good for a leading man. I think he plays character actors fine. I think he plays secondary, like supporting characters fine.
But that's what I mean. Like, I don't feel like anybody's beating down his door right now. So this very much feels like, you know, him ponying up with some friends to make a movie to basically so he can shine,
right? And
you know, get that one last action movie as like a 55-year-old man.
Yeah,
but he looks incredible in it. Like,
looks great. Yeah,
and he's fine. I mean, like his like you said, if he was a side character in like in an action movie, you know, like he's fine. He'd still do just fine as like a sidekick in an action movie.
Yeah. That's where I think Frank Grillo lives is in that space. The side, not sidekick, but like the side character, like, action movie.
But it's just like, who wrote this movie? Because I was trying so hard to
Matthew
not talk.
Kennedy.
Oh my God.
And
no wonder why.
Before this, he wrote nothing.
Didn't he?
Canary Black.
Okay.
Inheritance.
Inheritance, which is that fucking awful movie. Hold on. No, I'm thinking of a different movie, I think.
It says the patriarch of a wealthy and powerful family suddenly passes away, leaving his daughter with a shocking secret inheritance that threatens to unravel and destroy the family. Simon Pegg was in it.
Yeah, and it basically went straight to Tubi. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
he didn't write anything.
It's just like, I mean, there's stuff that's just so badly written. Like that scene towards the end with the mom and the shotgun. Like, she unloads her shotgun randomly at the ceiling and the walls. Randomly.
Right. Yeah.
And then when she actually needs it, like when there's an actual werewolf coming through the wall, all of a sudden she's like, oh no, I'm out of ammunition. Like, I literally wanted to walk out of the theater. I was so like, are you fucking, why would you write that? Like, it made her look like the dumbest character of all time. Like, she's just literally randomly shooting walls. There's no windows. They got it all boarded up, so she can't see anything.
Right.
She just hears noises outside and just starts randomly shooting this shotgun into walls and ceiling.
She's compromising the integrity of the house that's supposed to be protecting her and her daughter.
Yeah.
Like, she's an idiot.
Like, one part that did make me laugh, though, was when the little girl from across the street comes over.
She's like,
she's like, gonna go get her, and right before she could go outside, a werewolf goes, whoop. Like,
that was pretty gnarly when they showed her getting killed.
That was one of the. There needed to be more of that.
Yes, there needed to be more of that. This needed to be a lot more.
There's not a lot of gore.
Carnage. There's not
a lot of gore. Like, you don't see, like, you see werewolves getting shot and this and that, but like, I mean, I guess at the end when the two, like, and there's some cool ideas. They just, even those aren't that well executed, but like, the ending of having two werewolves fighting is cool. It's like, yeah, you want to see that. You want to see werewolves fighting, but it's just, even that is just kind of like, it doesn't last that long. Like, I get it. Things like that, where it's to do with budget, like they don't have the special effects to really make these suits get all ripped up looking and blood and all that. But
all right, well, that's going to take us out.
I don't know. So, I'm just amazed at how many people I've seen. I mean, Chris Stuckman made a review of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Talking about how much he loved it. Like,
really?
I get people talking about, like, it's cool to see a movie with the 80s practical effects and all that. And it's like, well, yeah, but we have those. It's not like those 80s movies all of a sudden don't exist anymore.
Right.
And they just did the same thing, but way better. We have those. It's like, if you're going to do a new one, like, I love, that's cool. Like, yeah, let's do something with practical effects, but no budget. The budget has nothing to do with the script. And like, this is one of those times where I'm like, because I would have been fine if it wasn't a great script. Like, it didn't even need to have a great script.
Right.
But I mean, this is really bad, dude. It's really, really bad.
It's not good. It's not good, but I had fun with it. I don't know.
And I think that's where I'll put this for anybody out there. Like, if you go into it just not expecting anything great, just to have popcorn and watch something stupid.
Yeah.
It's fine. Wait for Tubi. Like, wait for Tubi. Like, don't pay for this movie.
Right.
Unless you want to support indie filmmakers, and that's cool. I'm not saying they shouldn't have made a movie. My issue isn't, it's the same I had with Fear and all these other ones. I have a problem with movies that take up theater space. Like, this is not worthy of $15 in a theater. There's a lot of other movies that don't get that opportunity to be on the big screen that are actually really good. Every year there's tons of them. I mean, like, Beazle. Beazle is fucking great, dude. And like, straight to streaming. Nobody knows about it. You know, there's always like a ton of those movies every year, and it's very frustrating. They don't, you know, The Coffee Table. Holy shit, the movie is like fucking amazing. Probably would have gotten like award nominations and stuff if it had gotten into a theater or into theaters. But it's like movies like that nobody even knows about.
And that's why we are here to talk about those movies that don't get seen and to trash the movies that take up the theater.
But that's why I'm so hard on this. Because like the truth is, it's not like it's that fucking bad, dude. There's a lot of way worse movies. It's just when I see a movie in a theater, I can't help it. I put it on that level. I watch it on the same level as
right. It needs to be at least this good.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
And like I'm not going to judge a movie. It's like when I do my video every year of my 10 worst movies of the year, I don't put movies on that list that are not in a theater. Because it's just not fair. Like there's every year, there's literally thousands of movies that are horrible. Like people's first time doing whatever, shooting with their phone in their backyard. Like, you know what I mean? There's like so many different levels of movies that are made every year. So you can't judge it like that. But if it's in a theater, it means there's a lot of resources and money behind it. It's not cheap to get a movie into a theater.
Right. It's not. Like you have to really believe in it to get that.
That's why I'm telling you, dude, Grillo, this is all about Grillo and getting his buddies involved to make a movie, dude. It's got to be.
Probably. All right, that's going to take us out.
Any studio exec, like of any studio, even the smallest studio, being like, oh, yeah, let's green like that. There's no way. There's no way.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for everybody talking in the chat. If you missed this, it's going to be the replay. Please comment. Let us know what you want us to watch. We are going to watch. We had some people recommend some horror anime.
Yeah,
we're gonna get on that. I think we're gonna watch Wicked City.
Yeah, but that'll be in the new year.
That will be in the new year. So, but we do like recommendations, and we will get to them. But yeah, in the new year,
just like in the new year, I'd like to cover some video games too. Like there's the new Resident Evil 2 remake coming out, and like checking out like different indie horror games would be cool.
Yep, we will definitely do that. We're gonna have a lot of stuff in the new year. So we are live next week. We are not live Christmas, the week of Christmas. We will be back on the 1st, and that's when we'll do our top 5 of 24. And we'll talk about that. We got a lot of cool stuff coming on, but thanks for watching the Death Rattle Podcast. Please subscribe.
Thanks,
if you're watching on the Ghost Pirates side, please go to the Death Rattle Podcast side and subscribe to us. Watch us there.
Yes.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.